to their recipients, to their operatives and agents in the country. Amongst those arrested, we have Abdurrahman Waivi, we have Sanyu Nachitende. These two have so far received $114,000. One of the recipients who received funds to facilitate terror activities. She was tracked down and arrested in Hoima, Ewan Aisha Katshabe.
Security confirms the ongoing recruitment of young people into terrorism activities. Masterminds are said to have links with different recognized rebel groups in Africa with the commitment of destabilizing peace.
We managed to round up 13 rebel collaborators, 11 of whom were part of the hostile rebel group, the Uganda Homeland Liberation Movement, or FRONT. This is a front that has been active in the West Nile region and also around the Acholi sub-region.
Police is investigating some petroleum dealers and real estate dealers for bankrolling terror activities in Uganda.
On funding that is being channeled through some of the petroleum companies and real estate dealers, we are tracking down finances to a tune of US dollars 400,000 through petroleum companies. And we are going to ensure that the proprietors, the agents and collaborators disguising as petrol dealers in the country are arrested and brought to book.
The listed ADF associates, in collaboration with other rebel groups, are believed to have a hand in the recent attacks on different UPDF detaches. Abdul Nasili Lubwama, UBC News.
Now, the Director, Internal Security Organization, Colonel Charles Oluka, has called for calm amidst terror threats. Colonel Oluka says security intercepted about 47 bombs before the recent two that exploded in and around Kampala. He made the remarks as he met intelligence chiefs from Eastern Africa at the African Union Intelligence Center in Uganda.
Just in a period of 1 week, 2 bomb blasts have gone off in Uganda, with the first one in Kampala's Kawempe suburb at Komamboga and the second one in a bus at Mpigi district at Lungala. The Director, Internal Security Office, Colonel Charles Oluka, calls for calm among the public. He says the hard work of security officers has averted more than 47 bombs since terror threats were issued.
We have received your products, and we continue to receive your products. They have contributed a lot towards what we have done to safeguard the peoples of our countries, particularly here in Uganda. There would have been bombs all over the place, but the public doesn't know. They only know that one that has gone off. They don't know about the 47 that we have stopped from going off.
Colonel Oluka was meeting intelligence chiefs from Eastern Africa at the Intelligence Center in Uganda that is coordinating intelligence in 10 East African countries and the African Union.
This kind of cooperation is what our head of state has been expounding all along. Africans should have a solution for themselves. Instead of calling on these guys all the time, they have their interests. They're not about to sacrifice their interests to come and sacrifice for the interests of a crying African. Unless sorting out your interests sorts out theirs as well.
He tasked the Intelligence Center to upgrade their technology in the fighting against complex and translational crimes like terrorism.
And the threats to our regions will continue to get more complex because we're learning ways of dealing with these people. They're also devising other means to evade security. So the threats get more and more complex all the time, and they're becoming tougher and tougher to defend. I know the problem with the general population the challenge of complacency. When you tell a person, please, if you see something that you don't recognize very well, some package near you, some plastic bag near you, you don't, please report or run away from it. But we have said it for so many times, people have gotten so used to it, when they see it, they just ignore.
The coordinator of the intelligence unit, Tom Magambo, says the facility is the bigger plan by the African Union to improve intelligence in the continent.
I'm actually told there are plans by the African Union to form another one in South Africa for all those Southern Africa countries and then North Africa. So we are part of the 4 pillars of the African Union peace and security architecture. Now, distinguished delegates, this unit was put in place by the African Union, as I've mentioned, and our core aim is basically to share. It's a sharing mechanism of information and intelligence of interest, especially on common threats to our region. It is comprised of 10 countries, as I have told you: Burundi, Djibouti, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, Somalia, South Sudan, Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda.
I'm Nafka Farida and Philip Aguta.
Meanwhile, Uganda police have revealed the name of the young man that died in yesterday's bomb blast that occurred in a swift bus coach at Lungala Mpigi along Massacre Road. In a televised press briefing to update the nation in the bomb incident, police spokesperson Fred Enanga said the deceased, a 23-year-old Isaac Matovu, was one of the members of the Allied Democratic Forces.
Security says last evening's explosion in a bus along Massacre Road was a suicide bomb attack which took the life of the mastermind, one Isaac Matovu, aged 23, a resident of Kireka, a Kampala suburb. Matovu is said to be an associate of the Allied Democratic Forces, a recognized terror group.
Now, this is the first incident where a suicide operative concealed a suicide vest and belt and detonated it on a bus. We got a detonator on his seat. Metallic bearings were all over him, and several wire gadgets were also found on him.
Only one person died on spot, and the regional police commander, Bushenyi Adrian Kwetegereza, who was on board, sustained serious injuries. 52 people were on board at the time of the accident. This explains the magnitude of the devices being used.
However, the passenger who was seated behind the suicide bomber, that is our superintendent of police, who is the acting regional police commander, Greta Bushenyi, identified as Adrian Kwetegereza, sustained serious injuries that were coming from the front.
This suicide bomber is believed to have boarded the bus with a colleague from Kisenyi bus terminal, who police says later disembarked after Maya checkpoint. Police reviewing the CCTV footage to aid their search on who could have moved out of the bus.
And also using the decade-long experience and capabilities that we've had in fighting and countering terrorism in the country, to track down, first of all, the person who disembarked from the bus. We are already tracking that person. That is after the Maya checkpoint.
On assessing the scene of crime, police says these are improvised explosive devices. Police has further revealed that there is a criminal gang designing these deadly devices locally.
From the hallmarks of the attack and the bomb materials recovered, a high connectivity of this attack to the attack that occurred 3 days ago in Komamboga. This implies that the individuals or groups of individuals that are preparing these improvised explosive devices are the same group of attackers.
By clustering these attacks as domestic and soft targets oriented, police is skeptical of the motive and warns the public to intensify vigilance.
If you look at what happened in Komamboga and what happened in the bus park, these two settings and venues are an inviting atmosphere. First of all, for visitors, for customers, because it is usually open and spacious, but also very attractive for terrorists.
2 bombs have gone off in less than 5 days, killing 2 people and injuring scores. The bombers are reported to have direct links to the Islamic group ADF, although their direct connection with the Islamic State, which over the weekend claimed responsibility of the ongoing attacks in Uganda, remains unclear. Abdul Nasili Lubwama, UBC News.
And there has been tight security deployment at different institutions of higher learning and health centers around Kampala. It follows 2 bomb blasts that
for heavy security deployments across the country, especially in places that accommodate big numbers. Tuesday morning, stiff security deployed at different institutions of learning and health centers. At Makerere University, security headed by police had surrounded the institution, and for one to access entry at the university was first checked and had to present an identification card. Motorists waited to seek entry and thorough checking was made on their vehicles and motorcycles. Students who made it to the university were worried of the heavy deployment.
But to come to school, they ask you for your ID. If you don't have an ID, you know you cannot easily pass. So
we apologize for that. We hope to bring you that story later on. Now, the Vice President, Jessica Lupo, has said that terrorists who attacked Uganda in the 2 different bomb blasts recently are cowards and will be defeated to ensure that the country is secure. She was visiting one victim of the bomb blasts at St. Francis Hospital in Zambia in Kampala.
The Vice President made the remarks today morning at St. Francis Hospital in Zambia after visiting Adrian Kwetegereza, one of the victims of the second bomb attack. The attack took place last evening on a western Uganda-bound bus. Kwetegereza, who is the acting regional police commander of Greater Bushenyi, survived the bomb attack alongside 37 other passengers when a bus belonging to Shift Safaris Bus Company under registration number UAU 989T was attacked yesterday evening. 2 people are reported by police to have succumbed to the attack. Kwetegereza sustained a double fracture in the right leg and was set for operation today morning. Adrian Kwetegereza, at the time of the bomb attack, was on his way to his up-country home in Bushenyi from the police headquarters in Kampala. The Vice President also offered logistical support to the family. The bus attack took place hours after terrorists claimed responsibility for a bombing at Pork Joint in Komamboga, a Kampala city suburb. The Vice President, Christine Muzale Anna. Etole Ed Archangel, UBC News.
Meanwhile, the First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, has flagged off the 3rd phase of distribution of self-study materials to ensure continuity of learning during the lockdown. She called upon suppliers to ensure materials reach the beneficiaries. Let's take a look.
Following the closure of schools in March last year, as one of the measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19, the Education Ministry, through the National Curriculum Development Center, NCDC, has been distributing self-study materials to learners, most especially in rural areas, to ensure continuity of learning.
Here we go! The home study materials will soon be on their way.
The Minister of Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, flanked by her 3 ministers, Tuesday flagged off the 3rd phase of distribution of self-study materials.
Is now in the hands
The minister was dismayed after learning that some study materials up to now have not reached the beneficiaries.
What is disappointing is that in some schools, these materials were not handed over to the learners at home. Some copies, I hear, are still lying idle in some schools. Now that's really, really bad. This is serious negligence of duty on your part as heads of institutions, and we are following up this matter seriously. Try to ensure that these materials don't just get to school and be stuck there. Go an extra mile to ensure that the materials under your care will reach your children. Those children are yours.
At least 19 million copies will benefit learners from primary 1 to 4 and senior 5 and 6 at secondary level, according to the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education and Sports, Ms. Katie Damaro, adding that a new distribution plan will be adopted to ensure that learners in both government-aided and private schools receive their copies on time.
We have tried to improve further by developing a strategy for distribution, and this time we shall involve a cross-section of leaders to participate in the distribution of materials.
Meanwhile, the minister urges school administrators to ensure vaccination of staff, non-teaching staff and learners above 18 years.
And the teachers and non-teaching staff to mobilize. You are the head teachers. You have an extra responsibility placed on you.
Bernard Higa, UBC News.
And a total of 587,505 students are to be placed in Senior 1 and 206,026 in Senior 5 during the selection exercise for the candidates of 2020 academic year. While officiating at the opening of the selection and placement exercise in Kololo, the Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, said she will no longer tolerate unprofessional teachers who plan and engage in malpractice because that is academic corruption.
Ministry of Education and Sports has started the selection and placement exercise for candidates of 2020 academic year. This time round, head teachers of secondary schools are doing selections for 2 levels, O and A, in one day. The selection and placement committee has been phased into 4 days, with each day having 500 head teachers. The cut-off points for both Senior 1 and Senior 5 have remained constant.
Senior 1 we have taken up to aggregate 9, and Senior 5 we have taken up to aggregate 32.
Most likelihood cause is just because they filled schools that are way beyond their capacity.
To do selection for both levels within one day, the work is quite hectic.
This year there has not been selection for primary teachers' colleges for grade 3 certificates due to requirements of the teachers' policy.
Now there are learners who had put their choices in primary teachers' colleges, and these are 8,369. These ones in our situation here, they will come out as non-selected. And because they will come out as non-selected, arrangements are made to ensure that head teachers also take them on.
The Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, urged head teachers to prepare learners and enable them to progress according to their abilities.
We can't continue to mourn about malpractice at the end of every exam time. I want to ask you to help us to fight that, so that the excellence I'm talking about is not done through malpractice, so that it is done through hard work.
Janet says the challenge they must effectively resolve as they reopen schools is the absenteeism of teachers and head teachers.
We cannot afford to have teachers not attending to classes at this time when we are struggling to catch up with the lost learning time. Once again, the head teacher, as the first school inspector, will be held accountable for failure to control absenteeism of teachers.
State Minister for Higher Education John Chrysostom Moyengo urged head teachers to monitor their infrastructure in preparation for reopening.
To see what is happening on the infrastructure. I've visited, Mama, some of these schools. They look bad, ugly. They are not attractive. I want them to go back and start cleaning up in preparation for the opening.
Selection for learners joining technical schools, community polytechnic and technical institutions will be communicated. I'm Nafka Farida and Benediga in Kololo.
Now, Parliament has unanimously agreed to further consult on the move to okay a ban of nuclear weapons in Uganda. This follows a motion by Ojara Martin Mapenduzi to urge government sign and ratify the Treaty on Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. The motion caused mixed reactions from legislators, which MPs asked for further study of the matter.
Uganda's position to prohibit nuclear weapons is yet to be delayed as Parliament needs clarification on the subject. The resolution to prohibit nuclear weapons was adopted in 2017 at the UN General Assembly after 122 states, including Uganda, voted in favor to usher into a world free of nuclear weapons. Martin Ojara Mapenduzi, the area MP for Badegi Laib Division, proposed to the August House the resolution urging government to sign and ratify the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons and was seconded by Ongaitho Emmanuel, the MP for Jonam County.
Only one can destroy a whole city, potentially killing millions and jeopardizing the natural environment and lives of future generations through its long-term catastrophic effects.
We are not talking about the items for manufacturing nuclear weapons, but we don't want them to be used as elements of war.
Whereas Parliament recognizes the prospects of the treaty, a section of MPs are concerned over the complexity of the subject.
Yes, for us to come to this Parliament, a matter that should have come from the executive, we have members from the security in this house.
We are also wondering why are many countries, especially developed countries, seated on the fence on this treaty. They promote it, but when it comes to ratification, they are not signing. Why?
Tororo woman Member of Parliament Sarah Acheng asked the Speaker to refer the matter to the Parliamentary Foreign Affairs Committee for guidance. Speaker Jacob Olanya did not hesitate.
Currently, we are struggling with bombs everywhere. Tomorrow, you never know, those nuclear weapons may find their way here.
The committee responsible for this to interrogate it further, interact with the people concerned, ask questions, get answers, and come back to this Parliament. And then we proceed to conclude with our discussions on the motion and possible adoption of the motion.
Recently, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said the treaty to prohibit nuclear weapons is an important step towards a world free of nuclear weapons. Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
Grow together with one of Uganda's largest companies. Apply for MTN shares for as low as 100,000 Uganda shillings. And when you apply using MTN Mobile Money, you get 10 free extra shares for every 100 shares you apply for. Dial *165*65# or use the MyMTN app to apply now. The terms and conditions of the offer and other important information are set out in the prospectus. For assistance, visit any MTN service center or Stanbic Bank branch countrywide or a licensed broker.
Getting GoTV was the best
best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly until James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the benefits of homegrown advantage with a decoder and 1 month of GoTV value. For just 25,000 shillings, enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cap competitions. GoTV Uganda, love it.
You know, you could just buy a new smartphone from anywhere in Uganda. Dial *175 *94 hash to activate their 100% double data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles for 3 months. Better yet, you automatically receive free 1 GB valid for 30 days. You are hooked already, aren't you? Enjoy a 100% double data bonus from Airtel. Buy a smartphone from anywhere in Uganda and insert an Airtel SIM card. Dial *175 *94 hash to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Dial *175 hash and select your preferred bundle to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Parents and guardians, this month of October, take all your children aged 15 years and below to the nearest health facility or outreach post for Integrated Child Health Days to receive a wide range of free services. The services will include immunization to protect them against killer yet vaccine-preventable diseases like measles, rubella, polio, diphtheria, whooping cough, pneumonia, meningitis, diarrhea, tetanus, hepatitis B, tuberculosis, and cancer of the cervix. Your child will also receive vitamin A and deworming tablets. Girls aged 10 years old and those who missed their second HPV vaccine dose will receive HPV vaccine to protect them against cancer of the cervix. Girls and women aged 15 to 49 years will also be immunized against tetanus and diphtheria. Due to polio outbreak in the region, every child under 5 years should be fully immunized as per the routine immunization schedule. Vaccines used for immunization are safe, effective, and free and have been approved by the Ministry of Health and World Health Organization. Remember to follow all the COVID-19 prevention measures, including wearing a mask when in public, hand washing with water and soap, and keeping a distance of at least 2 meters from another person. Integrated Child Health Days, a healthy child, a happy family. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF, World Health Organization, Earth, and partners.
Welcome back. You are still watching News Tonight. President Yoweri Museveni has directed for the return of Nabisunza Girls School land, which has been under claim but yet unknown investors. President Museveni's directive was delivered by the Lands Minister Judith Nabakoba, who has visited the school this Tuesday.
Reports of land grabbing and encroachment on Nabisunza Girls' school land have been common. Lands Minister Judith Nabakoba has officiated over the boundary opening of the contested piece of land.
Honorable Minister, your coming to officiate at this occasion of boundary opening for the school land gives us hope that the current unfair move by Uganda Land Commission to cancel the school land title will be put to rest, and it will give hope to many young girls whose dream to study in a first-class school with a difference. Right now, I'm here to officially kickstart that boundary opening exercise to address your fears. The land is for Nabisunza, and the president told me to come and reaffirm that nobody, however big they are, will take away this land.
With the 2 land titles issued on the contested plot, the president has ordered for its cancellation, and this, according to Minister Judith Nabakoba, will be erected very soon.
The First Lady herself is committed to the education sector, but also to the girl child, to the progress of the girl child. So there is no way a government in power can see things being done haphazardly and we leave it not concluded, or we leave them not addressed. So, as a minister with my staff who are here, things are going to be fine.
Nabakoba also advises that whoever intends to carry out any development on this land must seek approval from the school administrators.
But whoever was planning maybe to ask for lease or to ask for a title for this land, this is the day to tell you that this land is purely for Nabisunsa Girls School, not any other person. And whoever wants to get associated with this land should actually contact Nabisunsa.
The school administrators and local leaders in the area believes this is a timely relief.
We are going to move the second step of developing the land to ensure that we secure it. We have already constructed a brick wall.
We plan to have a peri-urban farm in that land where the girls can have practical agricultural lessons in the place.
The school has been in existence for over 50 years, seated on the over 30 acres of land, but until early this year, there has been no ownership claims. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Now, the Parliamentary Health Committee wants the process of having HIV/AIDS Trust Fund expedited. Chairperson Health Committee of Parliament, Saran Teresere, says the fund would ensure reliable financing of HIV-related activities. She was speaking during the launch of the National Policy Guidelines on Ending HIV Stigma and Discrimination.
The Uganda AIDS Commission has launched the National Policy Guidelines on Ending HIV Stigma and Discrimination. Minister for the Presidency, Miri Babaranda, launched the guidelines in Kampala.
Stigma and discrimination is one of the key roadblocks that are dragging our efforts to achieve the targets of ending AIDS by 2030.
The Director General, Uganda AIDS Commission, Dr. Nelson Musoba, highlights the contents of the National Policy Guidelines on Ending HIV Stigma.
So the policy highlights your rights as a person living with HIV or a person, because when we look at stigma and discrimination, the first line are those living with HIV. They are the ones who get affected. So it tells you what your rights are. It tells you what you should do when your rights have been violated. It points out, or for testing. It also points out the levels of redress where you can seek. It outlines the importance of why, you need to test and know your status.
During the launch, the Parliamentary Health Committee hinted on the need for the country to expedite the process of having HIV/AIDS Trust Fund.
We are working together with the Ministry of Finance and then the Ministry of Health. Right now, we are supposed to establish the board that is supposed to manage the HIV and Trust Fund to ensure that this money is put in the basket for HIV and Trust Fund so that we can reduce on the donor burden.
These guidelines are in line with the global strategy of ending AIDS by the year 2030. But will Uganda achieve this goal?
So we are 100% sure by 2030 we would have ended AIDS in the entire world, and Uganda will also lead those other countries in terms of ending AIDS.
Uganda has an estimated 1.4 million people living with HIV. Adiana Kuti, UBC.
And the Natural Resources Committee of Parliament has applauded government for constructing 3 radars at a tune of 33 billion shillings. The radars in Lira, Rampara and Wakiso Entebbe specifically are all complete and await commissioning by President Yoweri Museveni. Committee members were on a fact-finding mission to ascertain whether the authority can be merged under the ongoing government program for ministries and government agencies.
Members of Parliament led by the committee chairperson, Dr. Emmanuel Rotala, also West Budama constituency legislator, have inspected the newly constructed radar at the Meteorological Center. The 11 billion Ugandan shilling equipment monitors and gathers information for weather forecast. The legislators who said their areas suffer disasters asked meteorological experts to create awareness on weather changes and communicate in relevant languages.
If we talk about dissemination of information as it is really happening, how are we simplifying this information for the people who are being affected by these weather vagaries to ensure that they actually take note of the information and utilize it?
Possibly would be told that please, people around this place, in the next 24 hours, you are receiving this, please don't keep your animals outside. Can you therefore warn us against that in real time?
Traditionally, we don't. People think we just talk things, we just tell things, but with the radar, you can tell real time. So if we tell people to be listening, then when you go now on radio and say, the people of Rwampara, for example, there is a likelihood of thunderstorms and this and this and this, evacuate your animals, withdraw animals from the field, get from underneath the trees, then people will now start getting benefit of this, but we surely can't.
At UMA offices in Buku at the airport, the legislators assessed the works done.
Now, when this system is here, we receive information, meteorological information for aviation.
So we want to see how this information is of a national nature. Do we have functioning regional stations or district stations? And if they don't have, why? If they need the money, then we urge government to give them more money.
We've been taken through a number of installations. We started with the state-of-the-art meteorological radar system here at Entebbe that was installed at a value of 11 billion Ugandan shillings.
The committee applauded Uganda National Meteorological Authority, but tasked them to increase on accuracy while disseminating weather updates to the general public.
Meanwhile, Mubende High Court has passed judgment in an election petition by Fred Tumwesije against William Ndoli, who won the Wekula South seat. Now, the judgment read by the court registrar Godfrey Kawesi confirmed Justice Eva Luswata's order for a rerun after citing electoral irregularities that affected the poll.
The Wekula South constituency parliamentary seat was a contest between Fred Tumwesije and William Ndoli.
The elected member of parliament of Wekula South constituency was
William Ndoli, who as an NRM-leaning independent, won the election, but the NRM flag bearer Fred Tumwesije petitioned court over several irregularities. After marathon court sessions, a verdict has been passed, with Judge Eva Luswata ordering fresh elections.
Quantitative and qualitative tests, the non-compliance did affect the results of the election substantially. Issue 4, what remedies are available to the parties? The petitioner has substantially succeeded in his claim that there was non-compliance with the electoral laws in the petition.
Judgment has caused unconfined joy amongst Fred Tumwesije and his camp, who are optimistic they will triumph in the rerun.
I'm very happy, I'm very excited. I want to appreciate everybody in Wekula South and Mubende at large for those who supported us by voting, financially, prayers. We appreciate them so much, and we say we are here to serve Wekula South.
William Ndoli isn't content and promises to appeal the decision.
Ndoza tukanye ne baloya bange okwanga tugenda kwa apiru tituina buzibu bwonna kubanga tumanyi kwa apiru tulina okuwangula by the minutes.
Mubende High Court has over the past few days been a scene of electoral petition decisions, with 3 others taken last week.
And former presidential candidate Joseph Kabuleta has appealed for awareness on the different types of vaccines following the low turn-up of people for vaccination against COVID-19. He was speaking at a press briefing with human rights medical practitioners in Kampala.
You cannot access the Ministry of Health.
Following remarks made by Dr. Charles Olaru,
Commissioner, Clinical Services at Ministry of Health, noting that no Ministry of Health staff accesses the premises without proof of a vaccination card. But Dr. Daniel Waliemela, a lawyer and human rights activist, asserts that creating awareness would increase the citizens' chances of making informed choices.
It is unconstitutional, it's against human rights for a public institution to deny a citizen who is going to seek for social services on the basis that they do not have a COVID vaccination card.
But former presidential candidate Joseph Kableta wants government to open up a debate on vaccines for the public to embrace vaccination.
This is something that I think is very important for Ugandans to know, that these vaccines, there are so many debates which are going on. In America, they have a virus adverse effects report system, VRES. And there everybody documents how they were affected by the vaccine, and it is documented. It's a government system operated by the government, so that people can go there and see when did you get the vaccine, what's your name, your identity, they have the social security, just one.
Ministry of Health statistics show that Uganda has so far received 5.7 million doses, but only 2.4 million have been utilized, and about 600,000 people are fully vaccinated. Helen Pabrajizamba reporting for UBC TV News.
The Office of the Prime Minister, through the Ministry of Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, has reached out to families affected by hailstorms and landslides in Ibanda district with an assortment of relief items. 30 tons of maize flour, beans, sugar and 200 pieces of iron sheets were received by the area woman member of parliament and other leaders.
Government has reached out to the victims of hailstorms and landslide in Ibanda district with an assortment of relief items. The items include 30 tons of maize flour, beans, 2,000 kilograms of sugar and 200 pieces of iron sheets.
I can't forget to thank His Excellency, the President of Uganda, because this is his effort. If it was not him, we would not even have gotten all this relief. Because I don't think there is a minister who can come in a district and donate all this other than when he has the directive from the President. I really thank him so much because he really has shown that really he loves Ibanda.
Ibanda LC5 chairman has asked local leaders in the affected communities to distribute only to the affected families.
Those people who are not affected not to come for this relief aid. This relief aid is specifically meant for those ones whose crops and the animals and houses were destroyed by the hailstorm.
The victims have applauded government's gesture of coming to their rescue at such a time.
Mbaza kurya abantu bona bariyo bashemerirwa bakazibona baryaha abashisha bariyo bakwatira kimwe akahunga n'ebihimba ngene twansaba government n'angare tubajongere kishanja.
Hundreds of households were affected by hailstorm and landslides in the areas of Kachinga, Kashozi and others in Ibanda North. Joseph Bule, UBC at Ishongoro Sub-County in Ibanda District.
Meanwhile, Uganda has joined the world to commemorate the International Lead Poisoning Prevention Week of Action that runs from the 24th to the 30th of October every year. Under Goal 3 of United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, governments are called upon to ensure healthy lives and promote the well-being of all. Western Media for Environment and Conservation and BioVision Africa addressed a joint press conference in Ntinda, where the Executive Director Geoffrey Kamese noted that this week is used to create awareness and promote actions to address the human effects of exposure to lead.
Uganda joins the rest of the world to commemorate the International Lead Poisoning Prevention Week, which happens this year from the 24th to 30th of October 2021. the day is commemorated by WHO, that is the World Health Organization, the United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, governments, civil society, organizations, health partners, industry, and others. This year's global theme for the International Lead Poisoning Prevention Week is working together for a world without lead paint. As we commemorate this year's International Lead Poisoning Prevention Week of action, we are happy to announce that South Africa has just announced a total ban on the use of lead in paint in the country. This is a great achievement that South Africa is now joining the international community in banning lead in paint, and we see this as a very important opening for other African countries to join and ban lead paint as well. Therefore, we call upon our government to take such a decision for the good of the health of our children and indeed for the health of the people of Uganda. Now, lead, if I'm to explain a bit, is a heavy metal, and it is responsible for poor development of the brain of children. So when you have lead poisoning in children, the development of their brains is very limited, and therefore their performance in schools, their performance elsewhere could be compromised.
Meanwhile, National Water and Sewerage Corporation will compensate all households affected by the water pressure surge that affected 4 pipes at Sonde Treatment Plant. This has been disclosed by the Managing Director, National Water and Sewerage Corporation Engineer Dr. Silva Mugisha on inspection of the engineering works at Sonde Treatment Plant.
National Water and Sewage Corporation is set to compensate families affected by running water following a water pressure surge.
And about 4 pipes were affected, which we have now laid, and we are remaining with only 1 pipe to go, plus other fittings, and then we complete the job. But of course, when we complete the job, we shall have to do the concrete works so that the pipe is properly supported, so that when we open the water, it does not give way. We really want to apologize to our customers who were affected by the running water. Good enough, we have already discussed with the contractor who is still responsible for these works to make sure that they are properly compensated. The works are under insurance, and we are going to make sure that our people who were affected are properly compensated.
Engineer Dr. Silva Mugisha apologizes to customers that are having water shortage problems and promised that the problem will be fixed soon.
We want to apologize also to some of our customers who are not getting enough water as a result of this work which is going on here. But we hope that in the next 2 to 3 days, this work would be finished and the whole of Kampala should be able to enjoy water the way they were enjoying it before. This is not a problem of shoulder work. It is not a problem of poor workmanship. It is a problem of a defect that occurs in any civil engineering work.
National Water and Sewage Corporation technicians are working hand in hand with the contractor to ensure work is completed on time.
So from Mukatosi, you come to Sumba, Mukono, Seta, and this end with a pipe of 1,400 millimeter, very big. Somebody can walk through that pipe. And it's going to be transporting water per day, 160 million liters per day. And after 10 years, we shall increase to 240 million liters per day.
Isagala assured communities living in
Well, with that, we take a quick break. When we return, more details. This is News Tonight.
Everyone is talking about MTN shares. I am Jenny Kafulua Shares, and I am here to show you how you can get them. First, you need a Securities Central Depository account, or SCD account in short, and you can open one right now using MTN Momo. It's free of charge. Just get your phone and your national ID, and let me show you how. Now, why do you need an SCD account? Well, because every time you get shares in any company, well, including MTN, your shares are going to be kept in this account. But this is not a bank account, and you don't need to go anywhere to open it. So is your phone and your national ID ready? Good. Let me show you how to open your SCD account. First, dial *165*65# or use my MTN app. Then select option 1 to submit SCD account application. Then enter your full national ID number or NIN. Next, select your preferred stockbroker and then choose option 1 to accept the terms and conditions. Lastly, enter your mobile money PIN and wait for confirmation, which you will receive on SMS. Oh, by the way, stockbrokers are the people authorized to help you buy or sell any listed company shares, so you need to choose one. That's it. Once you have your SCD account, you're ready to start applying for your MTN shares for as low as 100,000 shillings for 500 shares.
Everywhere you go, MTN. Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly until James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the benefits of homegrown advantage with a decoder and 1 month of GoTV value. For just 25,000 shillings, enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cap competitions. GoTV Uganda, love it.
You know, you could just buy a new smartphone from anywhere in Uganda. Dial *175*94# to activate their 100% double data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles for 3 months. Better yet, you automatically receive free 1 GB valid for 30 days. You are hooked already, aren't you? Enjoy 100% double data bonus from Airtel. Buy a smartphone from anywhere in Uganda and insert an Airtel SIM card. Dial *175*94# to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Dial *175# and select your preferred bundle to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. This is News Tonight, and on business news, Korea International Cooperation Agency will support the Directorate of Industrial Training and other technical vocational education training subsectors to develop modular courses. That's in Uganda. A delegation of South Korean consultants is in Uganda to train institution staff, industrialists and DIT staff and develop assessment training packages.
Korea International Cooperation Agency will collaborate with the Ministry of Education and Sports to support the Directorate of Industrial Training in implementing the short-term training programs in mechanics, plumbing, electronics, fashion and designing. KOICA will also construct, equip and train technical staff of Iganga, Kiriandongo, Mubende, Nyakatari, Ntinda and Arua, where the programs will commence. The 5-year program of capacity building for industrial demand, Best TVET, will cost $7 million.
South Korea, first of all, we worked with them to develop this project. But also, South Korea is one of the developing countries which has moved from a donor recipient to now a donor giver.
The acting director, Directorate of Industrial Training, Patrick Byakatonda, says the focus of the program is competence, quality relevance and skills development. Korea Chambers of Commerce and Industry is implementing the project. The project manager KCCI, Dr. Choi Song-shik, promised more financial support towards vocational training.
First of all, we will make some curriculum development. So we visited some industry, and then we demand research and job analysis, and then based on that process, we will develop the curriculum.
Power of the human resources, the beneath was the vocational training. So with the vocational training, Korea could cultivate quality human resources, and those quality human resources are the leaders of leading the Korean economies at this point.
Korea International Cooperation Agency constructed, equipped Ntinda Vocational Training Institute at a cost of $5.2 million. Henry Muganga compiled this report.
The State Minister for Agriculture, Fred Chakulaga has advised Ugandans to embrace commercial farming in order to prosper. The minister was addressing a training for program officers of Operation Wealth Creation Mindset Change Initiative at National Farmers Education Center.
National Farmers Leadership Center and Operation Wealth Creation have trained OWC leaders on mindset change, which will help them enhance networking and information sharing. State Minister for Agriculture Fred Chakulanga Bwino says that the training is timely to address the problem of mindset change.
This is the time for us to liberate them so that they can also produce for sell, or producing for the pocket, but also producing for the food for the stomach.
He observed that some setbacks at the institution were reported to him by the principal of the institution, Okwaja John Bosco.
Challenge is it's only those that can pay for upkeep while here that can come for the training.
Brigadier General Felix Kulaije says that the trained officers will engage communities through media, develop content on mindset, and publicize successful stories on government interventions.
But mind will not change unless we understand what is a mindset is. Or for example, the tractors that were put at every sub-county, what do they do? How come we are still poor? Reason, our mindset. And yet, if we combine and say, okay, what do we want to do now? We want to achieve mindset change. Can we put collectively and have one lead agency?
The principal National Farmers Leadership Center, Okwaja John Bosco, says the institute needs funding for expansion and development of a model farm.
And then also after training them, we need to do a follow-up to evaluate whether what they have trained them, they are putting it into practice, or they are practicing it. So when we combine all that, we shall need about 3 to 4 billion. What?
OWC program officers will identify resources and organize outreach activities on mindset change.
And the Private Sector Foundation Uganda, Tanzania Private Sector Foundation Partnership and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will convene a Tanzania-Uganda Oil and Gas Symposium on the 25th of November 2021 in Dar es Salaam. Now, the theme for the meet will be enhancing private sector participation in oil and gas sector.
The need to fill in the missing links in the Tanzania-Uganda Oil and Gas Symposium in Dar es Salaam has called for a gathering of the key players in this sector on the 25th of November 2021 to ease the process. The chairman, Private Sector Foundation Uganda, Eli Karuhanga, says this symposium will find solutions to challenges that have delayed the project.
Now the question is, do we have those standards? Have we trained our
Meanwhile, the Uganda Registration Services Bureau has launched an intellectual online filing system to enable the public to file for intellectual property protection over the internet. The board chair, Francis Butagira, told the media that the system will simplify the process of application and enable a faster filing process.
As one of the strategies to simplify processes and enable faster and e-services uptake for clients while plugging into the post-COVID-19 new norm, Uganda Registration Services Bureau has launched an online filing system.
On behalf of the Government of the Republic of Uganda and on behalf of the RSB Board, I hereby launch the RSB Front Office System.
The board chair, Francis Butagira, says the system is an intervention to ease business in the organization and improve experience for clients.
This system, just in short, will enable filing of trademarks applications online.
He urged stakeholders, especially clients, to seize the opportunity and file trademark applications using the front office tool.
The RSB team is much prepared to serve you through this venue.
In a similar development, Uganda Batch Limited has launched a first-of-its-kind e-commerce platform in the steel manufacturing sector. The head of sales, Geoffrey Anthony, told the media that the initiative will improve customer buying and procurement experience.
To address the issue of convenience or the hustle, okay, because for customers earlier to spend, say for example, 10 hours in transporting themselves to a nearby location.
The new e-commerce is the first of its kind in the steel manufacturing sector and a game changer for Uganda Bati.
Because so far the customers has to now move from wherever they are, beating the traffic of Kampala or wherever currently Uganda Bati is.
Jane Ngiramjisha reporting for UBC in Kampala.
In the world of sports, West Nile Best Football Club Odumparaka has been boosted by promise of unrelenting sponsors Upbet, and this on a day the club unveiled its squad for the 2021 Uganda Premier League season.
Last year, Upbet injected a 625 million shillings into the club for a 4-year contract and has vowed to continue the partnership.
We don't just look at it as a partnership or as a sponsorship. For us, it's a blessing to work with Odumparaka. And we can assure you, despite all the challenges, despite all the setbacks, Upbet is here and Upbet is going to continue pushing to the limit.
The club has also unveiled its various jerseys, with the green one for home games, white for away, and pink as the neutral third kit.
And most of all, to even be able to inspire a football club from West Nile, for us, is the biggest achievement that we can say. Every time I look at the team sheet of different clubs in Uganda and I see the names of young boys who have played for Odumparaka Football Club before, I register that as a success, because that is exactly what Odumparaka was set to do, to provide a platform for young people to explore their talent, for the world to see the amount of talent that has been had in West Nile.
The club that last season sold 90 million shillings in replica jerseys to fans across the world also revealed its squad members for the season, in which they expect good tidings.
The most important thing is our background, where we've come from. We've come from a humble background, and we will not change that, and we will not say that now we've reached this stage, let us change to be, arrogant and all that. No, we'll always continue to be the Odumparaka that people know. Challenges are there, and it's part of life, and we will continue to do our best.
Odumparaka has been in the Uganda Premier League since 2016, with a legacy of attracting big crowds that many teams envied and copied to better Uganda's football. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
Meanwhile, the National Handball League returns on Wednesday with 7 games lined up in Bombo and in Deje University. In the women's category, Uganda People's Defence Forces is the opening fixture at Bombo, while Ndeje University will have home advantage against Victoria University. The other women's fixtures are Nkaja versus Chengeza and current leaders Police against third-placed Kawanda. In the men's league, Uganda People's Defence Forces will face Mukono, while Prisons play Chaka at Bombo, with Chambogo and Evergreen meeting at Ndeje University. Uganda Powerlifting Federation has confirmed its first activity post-COVID-19 lockdown. This will be the first ever club championship to be hosted at Lanster Hotel in Machindi.
Players from about 10 powerlifting clubs in Uganda have confirmed participation in this weekend's inaugural clubs championship.
We are expecting a lot of participants this time. So far at the moment, 35 participants have already registered. I'm very sure on Friday, before closing, we'll be having a number of 55 participants. We have managed to cover up all over Uganda. We have different clubs from all regions, northern region, eastern region, western regions, and here in central. So I'm very sure this time we are going to have a very huge event, and we are expecting a very good conditioned participants.
The participants are from clubs like Kira, Narumunye, Gladiators, California, Masomed, Kegezi, and Lugazi. It will be hosted at Lanster Hotel in Makindye and will feature many star names including Nego Mohammed, Joel Bankazawa, and Stephen Gidudu.
Randi mwetefu era mwetegefu okulabanga sigenda baswaza okulanga neyongerako nange kenyine okutumbula omutindo gwange.
Excellent players from the championship that will feature several categories including paralifters will be named on Uganda's FIBO Powerlifting Championship team due in China next March. John Barnes, Centum, reporting.
And with that, let's take a quick look at the headlines once more.
Brought to you by
how to get points. Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Police names most wanted ADF rebels. Security had foiled 47 bomb attempts before the blasts. On the international scene, protests after Sudan's military dissolves government, declares state of emergency. And in sports, Ababet reiterates support to Arua Besto Dumparaka.
Was brought to you by everywhere you go, MTN.
Well, that does it for News Tonight for tonight. On Sign Language, Elizabeth Nakakuni, I am Rhodah Ngonzi. Have yourselves a lovely night.